You are being too sensitive. I never said that. You're misremembering things. You're completely overreacting. On the surface, these sound like ordinary arguments in a heated relationship. But in the language of advanced psychological warfare, these aren't just sentences. They are highly calibrated weapons. They are the initial drops of a slow, corrosive acid designed to dissolve your sanity, erase your memory, and completely replace your reality. If you are watching this, you might already be trapped in this invisible war zone. Look at your life right now. You used to be confident, sharp, and secure. But today, you find yourself constantly double-checking your text messages, keeping screenshots as proof of your own conversations, and apologizing for things you didn't even do. You feel a heavy, suffocating fog in your brain, and a terrifying question keeps keeping you awake at 3 a.m. Am I actually losing my mind? No, you are not going crazy. Your brain is simply being hijacked. Welcome to the brutal machinery of gaslighting. It is a psychological matrix where the predator doesn't try to change your opinion. They hack your cognitive processor so that you stop trusting your own eyes, your own ears, and your own memories. They make you so entirely dependent on their version of the truth that you willingly walk into your own cage, lock the door, and hand them the key. How does a perfectly healthy human mind get systematically broken down to the point of absolute psychological surrender? And if your reality has already been eroded, how do you rebuild your boundaries and reclaim your sanity before the damage becomes permanent? In this session of Humanus Psyche, we are not looking at superficial relationship advice. We are going into the clinical stages of reality erosion, dismantling the code of the gaslighter, and giving you the psychological counterscripts to wake up from the illusion. Let's look at the first drop of acid. Gaslighting never starts with a massive, obvious lie. If someone told you on day one that the sky is green, you would walk away. Predators know this, so they start with microdoses. Stage 1 is disbelief. It begins over something completely trivial. You remember them saying they would pick you up at 7 p.m. They arrive at 8 p.m. and calmly tell you, "I distinctly said 8 p.m. You must have been distracted." You feel a slight twitch of confusion, but you brush it off. You think it's just a misunderstanding, but mathematically, the first line of code has just been altered in your brain. Before you know it, you enter stage 2, the defense. This is where the retention dance becomes violent inside your head. You are no longer brushing things off. You are actively fighting to protect your sanity. You start cataloging dates, times, and screenshots. When they deny a conversation, you pull out your phone to show them the proof. But here is the twist. A gaslighter doesn't care about your proof. When you show them the text, they switch the matrix. They say, "The fact that you are tracking my text proves how insecure and paranoid you are. You need help." Suddenly, the argument is no longer about their lie. It's about your mental stability. You went into the room as the prosecutor, and you walk out as the accused. Let's stop right here and look at a mirror. Ask yourself, how many times have you rehearsed an upcoming conversation in your shower, practicing exactly how to phrase your words so they don't get twisted? If you are doing this, you are already losing. The moment you start preparing a legal defense just to talk to someone who supposedly loves you, your brain has already accepted that their court holds the power. You are maintaining an illusion of control while your boundaries are being quietly turned into dust. This constant exhaustion eventually drags you into the darkest phase, depression and surrender. Your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, simply gives up from the non-stop amygdala hijack. You stop arguing. You stop holding up screenshots. You look at a clear truth, and instead of trusting your eyes, you look at them to tell you what is real. You become the ultimate prisoner, the one who guards their own cell. You find yourself constantly whispering, "I'm sorry, it's my fault. I must have misremembered." You have officially handed over the administrative access of your mind to a manipulator. They have successfully rewritten your operating system. You are now entirely dependent on their version of reality just to feel safe. But remember, a hijacked system can always be force rebooted. The code they installed can be deleted. So how do you break out of a prison when your own brain is telling you that the prison walls don't exist? What are the exact counter algorithms to reclaim your truth? To reboot a hijacked mind, you need more than just willpower. You need a structural blueprint. You need to see the invisible wires before you can cut them. And that is exactly why I built the Human Matrix ebook. This manual contains 15 advanced psychological frameworks designed to dismantle the social and behavioral conditioning that keeps you trapped. But more importantly, it arms you with specific linguistic counterscripts, the exact clinical words and phrases you need to instantly freeze a gaslighter in their tracks and protect your reality in real time. If you are ready to stop second-guessing your own memory and download your psychological defense system, the link to the Human Matrix is waiting for you in the description below and pinned in the top comment. Now, let us examine the 3 immediate, practical counter-algorithms you must implement today to break the illusion and reclaim your mind. The first clinical shift is to completely withdraw from the court of debate. A gaslighter's trap only works if you participate in the argument. The moment you pull out a screenshot or try to prove your memory, you are telling their subconscious that your reality is up for negotiation. You must implement the no debate protocol. When they say, "I never said that," your response is not to argue. Your response, both internally and externally, is a flat, unshakable statement. We remember things differently, and I am not going to argue about what I experienced. Turn around and walk away. You do not need their permission to believe your own eyes. Second, when your internal processor is compromised by a heavy fog, you must temporarily outsource your sanity to an anchor system. A gaslighter isolates you so that they are your only source of truth. You must break this perimeter. Find one trusted friend, a therapist, or even a private, passcode-locked digital journal that the predator cannot access. Write down the facts immediately after a confusing conversation occurs. When the fog rolls in later and you start asking, "Am I crazy?" you look at your anchor. One objective record outside of the gaslighter's matrix is enough to keep your entire nervous system grounded. Finally, stop trying to figure out the absolute truth of the past and start focusing exclusively on the behavior in the present. Gaslighting keeps you trapped in a historical maze, debating who said what 6 months ago. It is a distraction tactic. Shift your focus. If a person's presence in your life consistently leaves you feeling exhausted, confused, and filled with self-doubt, that behavioral data is all the truth you need. You don't need a confession from a manipulator to justify your exit. Your boundaries do not require their signature. The most terrifying thing about gaslighting is that it makes you an accomplice in your own destruction. It forces you to choose between loving someone else or believing yourself. But remember this: anyone who requires you to doubt your own sanity just to keep them happy does not love you. They love the control they have over you. The fog in your brain is not a permanent defect. It is just a temporary hack. The moment you decide that your eyes see what they see, your ears hear what they hear, and your memory belongs exclusively to you, the entire matrix of the gaslighter crumbles into pieces. You are not crazy. You are just caught in a storm, and it's time to walk out. If this session gave you the clarity to see the bars of your own cage, hit that subscribe button and become a part of the Humanus Psyche collective. Do not walk through this fog alone. Secure your psychological defense by downloading the Human Matrix ebook from the pinned comment below. The algorithms of the mind are complex, but you now hold the code. We will decode another hidden layer of human behavior in our next session. Until then, keep observing.